Some time ago I covered the Amiga version of Flimbo's Quest, and as I constantly review my work in order to try and improve and make content more interesting and my commentary better and more interesting, I watched the video and by and large was quite happy with it. Obviously I didn't want to redo a video of the same game without necessarily having a completion or something to showcase. But of course I had not covered the Commodore 64 version of Flimbo's Quest, so I will do that with this video. Normally I try to avoid covering the same developer in the same week at least, but it just coincides with being a System 3 release. The plot of Flimbo's Quest, if you have watched the Amiga video, it's probably going to be a rehash of that plot description, because the plot is the same, but for those who may not have watched it, Franz Dandruff has developed a machine that can transfer life energy from one body to another. Obviously the recipient will be revitalized and useful and all that kind of good stuff, and the victim of the machine's negative effect is going to be rather dead. Looking for a guinea pig for said machine, he works out that the beauty queen Pearly makes her a nice easy kidnap victim, so he goes around and gets her kidnapped. Unfortunately he doesn't know the fact that the local superhero called Flimbo. I still think his parents must have disliked him giving him that name, but regardless, he is Pearly's boyfriend, and of course Flimbo is not necessarily overly keen on the idea of seeing his girlfriend's life go down the drain, quite literally. So he sets out to try and rescue her by entering Dandruff's mansion. Dandruff realizes the precarious situation and immediately unleashes, I think it's called unleashes, his horde of different creatures in order to stop Flimbo from progressing. That is the main plot of the game. Of course I don't like repeating myself, so I rephrased it compared to the Amiga video. Sorry, bad joke. Regardless, the mansion is divided into 7 areas that has to be navigated, and in order to navigate the 7 areas, Flimbo needs to make use of a wizard, or a magician I think it's called, I'd say, that offered to help him in return for some money, because of course we all like money. And by going around in the different levels and shooting marked monsters, they will be marked in the bottom center of the screen. It's a blinking icon indicating what monster it is. Flimbo will get a letter of a spell, and once the letters of that spell has been gathered, the magician can cast the spell that will transfer Flimbo to the next area. Very simple. Let's go over the interface. Unlike the Amiga version, there's no portraits of Dandruff and Pearly on either side of the bottom of the screen, but outside of that, you have the score, which is your score, surprise. You have your lives, in the center of the screen you have either an object marker that will show which monster will drop the next letter in the spell, or you will have a heart. And of course, if you pick up a letter, you will have that showing in the center box as well. And then to the right of that you have your money, and to the right underneath that you have your timer, which is the time it will take Franz Dandruff to activate his life-sucking machine, effectively meaning that the Pearly will be rather flat. Not in a yeah, you know what I mean. Not in that sense, but she will, yeah, she will yeah, not good. Let's just say it that way. Regarding the items, Flimbo can pick up a letter for the spell, or he can pick up a heart. He can't have both, so if he has one and picks up the other, then he loses the other and have to regather it. The hearts are random drops, and they have to be delivered back to the shop, and if you pick up 5 different colors of hearts, Flimbo will be granted an extra life. All the hearts will start as red, and then you can shoot at them in order to get them to change color, and in that way you can hand in the different colored hearts. Now of course the wizard magician thing also has other things for sale in his little shop, and those are individual letters in the spell, the full spell, which is quite expensive, a weapon upgrade, of which there are, you can only obtain one. It increases the power and the range of Flimbo's shot, and then you can buy extra time. Each purchase of an hourglass will add 2 minutes to the timer, delaying Pearly's involuntary blood donation. You can also buy a potion that will make you temporarily invulnerable, invincible thing. Well, it will make you invulnerable to contact with enemies, and for some bizarre reason it turns Flimbo's face green. I suppose it's a very easy indicator of him being invulnerable, but it makes him look rather sickly. Of other things in the game, you have, as you've probably been seeing now a few times, I've been entering bonus rooms, which are available on certain levels, not all levels I discovered, in which you have different coins. The green coins will give you 5 money things, and the glowing purplish coins will give you 20, and of course if you pick them up, the next one will pop up. There will be one purple active at any given time, and then once you pick that up, one of the greens will turn purple, so you can help yourself to a bit of extra cash, which I can highly recommend in doing. Getting the bonus rooms out of the way can be quite valuable, I found, as you will lose your weapon upgrades if you die, and you will not lose your money. So if you have stacked up money and you happen to lose a life, you can very quickly buy a weapon upgrade, which is definitely beneficial and highly advisable. Now of course, if you are in a hurry or you can't be bothered with a certain level and you just saved enough money, you can outright buy the spell, so you can be transported to the next level. So let us talk with graphics and sound. From a graphical point of view, I definitely think that this game is one of the nicer looking games for the Commodore 64. The backgrounds and the characters are all drawn at a very high quality. You could argue that certain objects are perhaps a bit basic, but you know what? They don't need to be more advanced than they are. Animation quality is, again, it's simple animation, but it is what it needs to be, and as such works perfectly fine. I have definitely no issues with the graphics, and I know it can look a bit coarse, but that is not uncommon for Commodore 64 games to look a bit coarse, and I actually quite enjoy that you can look at a game from the late 80s and early 90s and say, well, this is an Amiga game, this is a Commodore 64 game, this is an Amstrad game, whatever. The fact that the computer still had certain differences based on the fact that there were different computers, whereas of course in modern day gaming, all games effectively end up looking the same because they are effectively the same game using different interfaces based on whether they are played on PC or a console. So I'm old school gamer, I kind of miss the differences being present based on the fact that they were made on different computers. The sound design, the sound effects are very, very clear and of a very high quality, and certain games definitely has a certain amount of distortion on sound effects on the Commodore 64, and that is effectively kept out. When it comes to the music, I have to admit it thoroughly impressed me. The tune may not be for everyone's taste, and that's perfectly fine, but the actual pure sound quality of the tune is, in my honest opinion, exceptionally high. So, in conclusion, when it comes to platform games of various types, you can't go wrong with Flimbo's Quest. Because of course I make these videos, I end up playing an awful lot of different games of varying quality, and I don't necessarily have time nor desire to return to most of them. But this is a game I could easily see myself return to, and that is probably the nicest thing I can say about it. On that note, thanks for watching, take care, see you next time, bye bye for now.